Alrighty. Well, I'll talk a little bit about reflux issues. Someone, who some of you may know, has started to realise that they're having a few issues when they eat the wrong thing. In fact, I had a really rough time there initially, when they first, well, you know, at least at one point there, but they've started to realise that due to the years of overeating and stuff, that they now can't handle certain foods. Now, this certain person was they're just an outright fucking glutton, to be honest. And it's sort of come back to haunt them. You know, they put on a huge amount of weight from only 4 or 5 years prior. And all that good eating has repercussions. Well, I've had some fairly alright eating myself, but I've sort of come to recognise, like, I've had a lot of reflux problems that sort of come and go, and I really couldn't put my finger on it. And I've done the old thing they do of writing down, like people do with allergies, writing down what they've eaten. And yeah, so I've gone from having a lot of reflux and blooming heartburn and burning up your bloody throat and spew burps and all this sort of crap, to pretty much, not completely, but for the vast majority, having flattened it. Occasionally, it happened last night, and it happened a night about 2 months ago. I laid down, and it's almost like bloody, your stomach's not going to close up, and if you're not on a good enough angle, you keep getting, you know, blooming acid coming up your neck and stuff like that, because you're laying flat. Now, I had yogurt before I went to bed, and believe it or not, the last time I had it, I might have had yogurt before I went to bed. My father believes his reflux problems are cleared by acid, by yogurt. I, on the other hand, I'm not too sure that it doesn't friggin' trigger some, particularly when you have it before going to bed. So I'm going to keep an eye on that too. But the long and short of it is, I was at the point of, you know, going to a doctor and getting medication because it was that bad. And I've basically come to a point of pretty much fully controlling it. See, I realise if you have medication over a long period of time, depending on what the medication's for, of course, but particular things and particular drugs that do certain things, especially for particular, you know, just the way they fix the problem, they're sort of, these drugs cause the body to malfunction in order to function properly, or to force things to get them to function properly. When my uncle died, they'd done an autopsy on him. Instead of having nice healthy kidneys, for years he'd been taking these pills for diabetes, not injecting insulin, just having pills, and they told him one day you're going to have to inject insulin. You're going to need to work out a fridge. Instead of going and work out, it was like everything in his life, instead of work out a proper fridge and get it sorted out on, you know, on solar power or whatever, he went out and he got 8 dead friggin' kerosene fridges, none of which should work. You know, waste a whole heap of money on a whole bunch of dead shit that's sort of in the right direction, but you didn't need 8, and at the end of the day, none of them worked anyway. So he had those tablets to the day he died, and when they done an autopsy on him, instead of having nice big kidneys, they're like shriveled up little prunes, most likely from that medication. You know, it seems that was the case. They told him you can't be on it forever, and yet, you know, it slowly destroys your kidney, and that's what it did. It destroyed his kidneys, even though it was actually a heart attack that got him. I didn't really want to go on this anti-reflux medication to find out that, 30 years later, 40 years later, I've got some other problem caused, like buggered kidneys, caused by years of taking that. If I could find out what was causing it and eliminate that to begin with and not need the medication. Now, I've found there's a few triggers, and I realise, really speaking, eggs, well, one of them. But I didn't leave it there. I got an egg separator, and I realised it's actually egg yolks. In fact, only a couple of months ago, I could go to McDonald's and I'd get a particular breakfast blooming thing, bun, burger, whatever, and muffin, whatever you want to call it. And it had one egg in there, and I'd get just a slight amount of reflux from that one egg. I'd worked out prior that if I ate tomatoes with eggs, it wasn't as much of a problem. My body would handle it better than straight eggs. But I've actually come to realise it's the egg yolk, so I can have egg whites without a problem. Now, after having egg whites for the last few months, or no eggs at all, most days, I've realised now I can have, instead of having 5 egg whites, I can have 4 egg whites and 1 straight egg with the yolk, or 5 egg whites and 1 straight egg with the yolk. And I can have that one yolk in there now, not just one egg on its own with that one yolk, but I can have multiple egg whites and then 1 egg with a yolk in with it. And it's especially not a problem if I mix in a bit of tomato with it, or a bit of some other blooming thing, like a couple of potatoes from the previous night, or a few beans or something like that, with those egg whites and that 1 egg yolk for breakfast. I'll be fine. The other one that really was setting me off was tinned tuna in oil. For some reason, specifically tinned tuna in oil. And I went off all tinned fish for a while there. Having said that, I've found you can get fairly cheaply some, on occasion at a place I go to, they have discount fish, and, it doesn't cost you too much to get some actual real fish and just put it in the frying pan. And I was starting to suspect all things artificial as well. And a lot of it, I'll stick on the fish for now, it was the tinned tuna in oil. Now, I've come to realise it's just actually tinned tuna in oil. I've now come to realise I can have, so long as I don't have all the fluid, so long as I let the oil drip off a bit, I can have, and some of them don't have oil at all in them. There'll be, spring water or some other sauce or something like that. I can have sardines, I can have mackerel, I can have herrings. It's not a problem. There's even one there I've got now that's a herring in, they've got like about 3 or 4 herrings in mango and pepper sauce. Now, if I eat that straight, maybe not so great. But what it is the damn pepper, but they've left it as peppercorns. So if you get a few, it's not a problem, but they've got a huge amount of sauce, a ridiculous amount of sauce in this. So as you're eating the sauce, you just sort of filter out all the blooming peppercorns on your tongue or through your teeth or whatever, and just spit them all out in a cup. Not a problem. This one tin has like about 25 peppercorns in the damn thing, they're freaking crazy in it. You eat 3 or 4, not a problem, but you don't want to eat the whole lot. But a lot of these things, I'm finding ain't that great. I don't often have chili, but I can actually handle chili, I believe. But years ago, I sort of overdone it with chili, so I went off chili years ago. I've also come to realise that some of these pre-packaged blooming salads and you know, pre-made foods in a packet. Some of those are, there's something in some of these bloody, like pasta salad, the sauce in that, I don't know if it's got vinegar or something in there, but it friggin' sets me right off. And a lot of I think anything with vinegar in it sets me right off. I cannot handle normal gherkins. Now, there's gherkins you can buy in apple cider vinegar. I can handle them absolutely fine, smooth as silk. I can eat half the jar if I want it, you know, but I can handle those very well. However, normal gherkins, there's vinegar in there and it sets me off. And some of these sauces, I don't know if there's vinegar in some of those or some other bullshit in some of those, and it sets me off. It might be a preservative, it might be something. I used to eat this potato salad that they have, and I realised when I was back at the thing, I used to feel really blooming full. When I was back at the paint factory, paint warehouse a couple of years ago, and I believe it was something like they've got cream or some bullshit in this potato salad. I'm slightly lactose intolerant, not bad like some people that officially, but I do have, you know, issues where I get, you know, like a blocked nose with cheese and stuff like that. And I've gone and I can handle A2 milk. I can handle a lot of these. There's one they call filtered milk over here, and I can handle that as well. And lactose-free milk, of course, handle that without a problem. But I think they had some sort of cream or some sort of crap in there, and if I ate a fair bit of this stuff, I'd end up getting like bloated from it, and it was like my stomach's reaction to the damn cream or something, and I'd feel really bloated, like uncomfortably bloated, you know, and yeah, that was sort of something to do with that. If I have a couple of spoonfuls, I'll be right. If I sit down and eat half a pack, I'll be stuffed, you know. Or eat half a big pack or two small packs or something like, you know, it'll friggin' stuff me right up. But yeah, it's one of these things. You got to sort of work out what sets you off. And when you had reflux, what did you eat in the last meal before that? And you come to realise there's, you know, quite a few things. Now, in essence, a lot of these pre-made foods and this, any artificial bullshit, if I leave a lot of that out, I'm fairly fine. I can still eat lollies and stuff like that. You know, and even that seafood extender, you know, I can eat that. And I was worried that I might not be able to eat that because of the artificial flavouring in it, but I can handle that. And, you know, by the way, you know, I can get some of that stuff, fake crab meat, for less than the bloody price of chicken. Like, it's the cheapest stuff there is. It's actually made out of lizard fish, which is ugly ass looking fish if you ever seen one. It looks like a friggin' lizard. And I think it's big eye, which is some sort of like a bream thing or something that's in the South Pacific. And yeah, that's what it's actually made out of. But I was concerned that with the artificial flavourings, I might be able to, I thought I was going to have to go off a diet, you know, no pre-made food, make all me food myself. And in many ways, if you do, you know what you're getting into, you know. And there's no worries when you do, because it's, you know there's not all this other questionable bullshit in there, you know, and you've just got the exact thing that you've got. It mightn't make things as convenient, it mightn't always make things as tasty. And the other thing I've realised is you can have sauces and you can work out what sauces will set you off by only using one type of sauce. So say if you have a whole heap of rice that's just plain rice and you go, oh, I've got to put something with this, you put a sauce with it. If you get reflux later, that sauce is out of the question. If you don't get reflux, that's fine, you know. But if you've got bland stuff, whether it's rice, pasta, plain potatoes, like boiled potatoes, and you want to put a bit of stuff with it, you know, that's how you can work out if sauces are good. I've got this mint sauce, yeah, I think I'm handling it, but it's, yeah, I can tell there's a little bit of vinegar in it. There's another one that's a satay sauce. sort of a peanut-based thing, and that's bloody fantastic, and I don't get any reaction from that at all. So, you know, you can sort of eliminate a lot of the bullshit and then one by one test things and work out what it is. It's not great, but there's things where it starts to become fairly bloody obvious what it is. But you really got to keep a record of what you've done. I haven't needed to write it down. I've just kept it in my mind and I've worked it out. But a lot of people, they won't really take it seriously, and to know it, to really be able to put your finger on it, you do need to take it seriously. This guy's found out that a lot of spicy stuff sets him off, and a lot of people, it is spicy stuff. And also acidic stuff sets him off. And I'm not surprised that acidic stuff tomatoes set my dad off. However, with me, I'm fine with tomatoes. You know, I was wondering if it wasn't tomatoes setting me off for a while, but this is the thing. I always used to keep having eggs and tomatoes together, not realising that it was actually the eggs setting me off, not the tomatoes. You know, and this is sort of one of these things that he sort of got to the point that anything spicy is out of the question. Anything sort of chili, you know, even acidic things like tomatoes, and he's realised even meat. He had something that had meat in it but wasn't spicy, and he got set off by that. And, you know, he doesn't get set off a little bit, like I get a bit of reflux and it's a bit annoying, and that's it. And he used to have reflux and he'd have the antacid tablets. Instead of having one or two, he'd sit there and eat them like fucking lollies. Guy's a friggin' idiot. He'd sit there and he'd hoe through bloody 6 or 8 of them. He'd just be friggin' eating them like candy, honestly. And you're like, dude, fuck, you're not supposed to do that, you know? You're not going to have any stomach acid left. You know, and this is, like, what's the reaction going to be? You're going to overproduce acid because you've eaten so many blasted antacids, and then your body's going to be even more blooming reflux and bullshit because of the reaction your body's having to eating antacids like friggin' candy, you know. But he's got to the point now where even non-spicy meat will set him off. So he's in real, you know. But he's having real issues. But he's facing what he's reaping what he sowed. He's always friggin' ranting on about other people. Reap what they sow, and now he has reaped what he has sown. Years of bloody gluttony, going into buffets and eating him. You know, we've seen him go into buffets, and the dickhead goes into buffets, and he has 10 or 11 plates of shit, and it's like, oh my gosh. They're not huge plates, you know, there'd just be a bit of this, or a bit of that, or a bit of something else. They're not massive plates. But at the same token, like, just, you know, he can go in a buffet and he can eat. You've been there for fucking 2.5 hours. How the fuck do you have a 2.5 hour lunch? Honestly. Some people reckon he's throwing up just to fit more in. Like bulimia or something, you know. Go in for the purge, come back out and keep eating more. You know, I doubt he is, because he's fat enough that he probably kept in everything that he ate. But anyway, these are the things, you know. And I used to eat too many eggs every day, half a dozen eggs every day for frickin' years. And this is the thing, you do it too many times. But sometimes people just get set off by artificial things anyway, you know, or things that I reckon I had a suspicion it was things that are too protein rich. Like, you know, if there's too much protein, I said, but I can sit there and eat a friggin' giant steak that might be a bloody pound of meat, you know, not a problem. Not a problem. But it's sort of, yeah, it can be too much of the same shit, or too much stuff that's too rich, whether it's spicy, whether it's greasy, which is another one that sets this other guy off. You know, whether it's too acidic, you know, and too spicy, too greasy, too acidic can set a lot of people off. And but I've sort of actually nailed it down to exact foods. So yeah.